first of all, you're going to ask a series of open-ended exploring questions, okay? You probably noticed there's one that's kind of big on the screen there. Okay, I want you to write this down. This is always, 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 without fail, in every circumstance, always your very first question. Could you tell me a little bit about your project? Those words exactly. Could you tell me a little bit about your project? These are magic words. When you use these, you will find that it changes everything. Because they are going to start where? Are they going to start with the size of the roof? Are they going to start with the urgency? Are they going to start with cost? Are they going to start with the pressure they're getting from the owner of the building or manager? Okay, we don't know. And that's the magic. Okay, whatever they start with is going to be what they think is most what? Important. So by giving them a blank slate and saying, could you tell me a little bit about the project, they're going to lead you right to the most important thing for them. If they called you, instead of you calling on them, okay, I always ask, what prompted your call to me today? And there's a double here. It's what was the reason for the call, but also there's a to me. Why did you call me in there? Right? So I want to find out what prompted, well, you know, you were referred by. Oh, that's different from I found you in the yellow pages or I found you on Yelp. Right? So if they say to me, well, I found you on Yelp, or I found you, you know, through your website or whatever it might be, okay, I would follow up with this question, how did you happen to select me? There were other roofers out there. How did you select me? And they will give you incredibly cool little clues. They'll say, well, you were the only one with a phone number. Okay, I know it sounds silly, but you get these kind of things, right? And you go, okay, we got to do more of that, right? Or they'll say, you were at the top of the list. Or they'll say, well, you know, you were green and everybody else was black. Whatever, you know, you just whatever the little nuances are, you need to pick these up. Okay, so tell me what concerns you most about your roof and this roofing project. Okay, so I want to go right to what are the concerns they have. It's either going to be timing, it's going to be budget, it's going to be, you know, interruption, disruption of the business. But, you know, and when they answer with one, you say, what else? What other concerns do you have? What else, what else, what else? You get them all out there. What is the most important factor to you in a new roof? And they're going to say what they say. Again, they may say, well, I don't want it to leak, or I want it to last for 50 years, or, you know, or it's, you know, doing it at the lowest possible cost, or doing it in the shortest possible time frame. Whatever it is, make sure you note that, because that's the metric you're moving toward for this roofing job, is whatever they tell you is that most important factor. Can you tell me a little bit about your time frames? Okay, and get some understanding around that. Can you tell me a little bit about your restaurant? Can you tell me a little bit about your school? Could you tell me a little bit about your store or your manufacturing operation? Okay, there are a number of reasons why I'm asking this. First of all, I want to know about them and their business. Okay, but we're going to come back to this a little bit later. What impressions do you strive to make on your customers? In other words, what's your company all about? How do you go about making that impression? You know, we're all about quality. We manufacture the highest quality, whatever. Or, you know, we're a progressive school. You know, we have a lot of kids here who, you know, who come to us from all over the city because they're pursuing a career in art or science or whatever it might be. Right? You want to start to align with their values and who they are and what they're about. So clarifying questions and expanding questions are the keys to customer connection and to more sales. So you start with the open-ended exploring questions, then you do the clarifying, the expanding. Trust me, this process alone will differentiate you from every other contractor you compete with. They will not do this. They will not take the time to learn this process. So then ask yourself, what can you consistently deliver? What can you consistently over-deliver? So you've got your overpromise, you've clear on that, you've learned what the customer wants. Now, what can we over-deliver? All right? What makes your company unique? What kind of customers have you dealt with that are unique? What locations have you managed that are unique? What kind of experience? What kind of job types? What types of customers or a particular type of customer you've dealt with that you've had success with? What about products? What about partnerships? What about personnel? What about references? What about government contracts? What unique skills and background do you bring to the table? And when you understand that, you're ready. Okay? What can you offer that no other roofer in your area can offer? What non-price offers have been most successful for you in the past? How can you get leverage from the collective expertise of the Duralast team? Got the largest tech support field team on the planet at your back. How do you leverage that? And what can you personally do better than anybody else in your market? Get clear on that. Now, let me walk you through a little scenario, and imagine yourself in this scenario. Saturday morning, I needed a heating HVAC unit, heating air conditioning unit for my house. Okay, Saturday morning I decide I'm tackling this project. I get on the phone and I call 3 contractors. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, I get 2 voicemails and person answers the phone at Sears and says, "Can I get your address?" And I gave him my address, and he said, "Would it be okay with you if I got to your house within 30 minutes? Would you have time to meet with me?" I said, "Wow, yeah, that'd be great." Okay, knock on the door, I open the door, he looks at his stopwatch that he's carrying, and he says, 17 minutes and 34 seconds. I guess I was faster than I thought. Is now okay? Yeah, come on in. So he proceeds to do what he does. He measures and he looks at the space and he, calculates the square footage of the house and the volume of the house and, blah, 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 blah. And he comes back to me and he said, "Mr. Barrera," he said, "if you have a couple of minutes, I'd like to go through my estimate with you." And he proceeds to tell me, here's what I've measured and here's how big your house is and here's how many times we want to move the air and blah, 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 all the sort of, techno-babble. And so what I've concluded is that the unit that you need is this unit. And this unit is going to be $2,157 or whatever the number was. And he said, "Now let me ask you a question." He said, "If you're like most homeowners, I'm going to guess that you called at least 3 contractors. Is that right?" And I said, "You bet. I'm not stupid. I'm checking you out," right? He said, "Let me take a guess. I'm going to guess that you called contractor A and contractor C. Am I correct?" I said, "Bingo and bingo." Pretty good. He said, "Let me just tell you a little bit about both of those contractors." He said, "Contractor A is a superb contractor." He said, "In fact, after Sears, they're the biggest in San Diego." And he said, "They're really good. They do really high quality work and they have a really high quality unit. It competes directly head to head quality wise with the unit that I'm going to put in. Here's what I'm going to tell you is they're going to measure, they're going to come up with the same measurements we did because we both do comparable work, and they're going to come in with this unit and their price is going to be about, give or take, $700 higher." Now he said, unfortunately for them, all that reflects is their size relative to Sears. We buy better than they do, and so we get the units a little bit lower. But he said in terms of quality, it's going to be exactly the same. In terms of delivery, installation, support, it's going to be exactly the same. So you get to choose which of those 2 units do you want, and do you really feel more comfortable with them or with me? Either one is going to be a great choice. He said, let's talk about contractor C for a minute. Contractor C really doesn't carry what we would consider a quality unit. And if you don't believe me, you can go ahead and ask contractor A and see what they say about that unit. It's really, really not the same quality. But it is going to be less money. So they're probably going to come in about $500 cheaper than we are. And if you're just going to, sell the house and move or something like that, then you probably will want to go with them because nobody will be able to tell the difference from the outside. But if you're going to live in the home for a while, pretty critical that you get one of these 2 units. He said, now, you called on Saturday, and I'm thinking that, you probably don't have a lot of time to be focused on this. I said, no, I don't have any time to focus on this. He said, well, if you'd like, I can go ahead and we can start, and I can, get this in for you, tomorrow. And I said, well, I really think I need to talk to these other guys. And he said, okay, that's fine. That's fair. He said, I just know that, you're kind of in a hurry. He said, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to just go through this checklist that I've printed out for you. Just go through this checklist with each of the other contractors, and, before you make your final decision. And then he gave me this checklist. And it was actually an 8.5 by 11 sheet with check boxes on it. But it went something like this. Have you been in business for over 100 years? Have you installed over 100,000 HVAC units? Are you offering a 5-year warranty backed up by a Fortune 500 company? Do you offer a free annual checkup for as long as I own my home? Do you have over 20 service trucks active in San Diego? Is each of your technicians certified by the manufacturer, having received over 200 hours of training and passing 7 certification tests in each area of HVAC? And you can see it kind of goes on and on and on. Okay, I read 5 questions and I started laughing. And he said, why are you laughing? I said, you know why I'm laughing. You're like just toasted your competitors. It's like it's game over before they even show up. And he said, well, we like to feel like that. I said, why don't you go ahead and give me that agreement and let me sign it and you can get started. He said, that's a good idea. Okay, before his competitors called me back on Monday morning, that was already done. It was over. Game over. Okay? The one that really got me, and I did read through the entire list, is do you have documented systems and processes for every aspect of the job? And if so, can you share those with me right now? So when I got to that one, I said, can you show me those? I said, I don't really care, but I got to see them. And he whipped out a whole separate book of installation processes. And he said, let me just walk you through the first part. So this is what I did this morning. I walked in, I told you the time, from the time, I told you I'd be here until the time I actually got here, right? So he's proving to me that he's following the process. Then I measured this, and then I calculated that, and then I showed you this, and then so you start to see that. And then he starts flipping pages. They're all, in a binder and plastic sleeves. He starts flipping the pages. This is how we do the installation. This is how we do the cleanup. This is how we do the follow-up. This is how we do the warranty. This is how we do. I mean, he's just going through all this, and I'm just sitting there going, what salesperson is going to compete against this guy? I mean, it's game over before he starts. So, what's on your checklist?